Hello, boys and girl. So, today I'm going to talk about my Voltaxic Spark Totem character. A lot of people have been asking a lot of questions about it, so we're going to make a video. In my opinion, it is one of the strongest hardcore characters you can play right now. This is in Parandis League, and it was a lot of fun because to me it plays up very differently than Totem builds. It does not have the limitations of range of a Totem build due to the projectile speed, but I'll show you that in a second. It is not a complete character. I do not have my Occultist or Elementalist ascendancy depending on what exactly you do. Because you might be playing in a group, in which case you do want Elementalist, or you might be playing solo, in which case you do want Occultist. We do use an Auto-Curse setup, which I'm going to explain in a second, because you might see that I am using a Herald of Thunder, and you might be wondering how. But I will explain that after I show off the build. But yeah, let's take a map. This is pre-rolled. Let's maybe temporal chain. That's kind of boring. Double damage mod, extra projectiles. Pretty sketchy map. However, like I said, the clear speed and the defenses of this character are pretty good. And on top of it, it's on a totem character. But you might be thinking, Rise, why are you playing this as a totem character? And there are a couple reasons. Mainly, this is a poison character, so totem damage is increased damage. It does double dip with the poison, which is incredibly nice. We do use Spark, and Spark travels on the ground, which means that often a self-cast Spark character has to reposition itself in order to kill something. We don't have that issue. We can use our amazing totem placement speed to put down a totem near the target and kill it that way. And also you have more than enough damage with this build. With any poison Voltaxic build, really should have more than enough damage. So it's essentially like having two characters instead of one, especially since again we off-screen a lot, which I'm going to show you. So yeah, you don't really need the damage because you do enough, and that's about it. This is a canyon, so it is a map a little bit better for this, but you can see we get a rallying cry. I am a little bit rusty with this character. Keep that in mind because I haven't played it for a little bit, but we kill a bunch of stuff. You can see that, like, I put down one totem. You can see how many things are getting off-screen. Essentially anything that gets hit dies from this. So that's the reason why it plays so cool. Act 4 mobs. Maybe let's speed up a little bit. You can see that really, again, just everything over here, all the way over here dies. Let's do this. Ooh, a crit. Alright, let's not cheat. Let's get the crits out of here. Right? So just keep up your Vol Clarity, keep up your Vol Haste, do use Rallying Cry every now and then for that damage boost. And yeah, again, no totem down here, you know, things are dying. I'm not even trying to clear the side, it's just that cool. Let's try and get to the boss, and I'll show you off the single target. Do use a filter that announces things that die off screen, because a lot of things will die off screen. You could see that. Oh, there we go, another one. You could see all these things dying over here. You know, I'm not even like, look where my totem was. Like, things were dying over here. My totem was all the way back here. So, pretty great in terms of that. Let's just get our buffs going because I am slowing down a lot. And let's get to the boss. And then I'll talk a little bit more about, well, I'll talk about the build. Oh, there's the boss. I'll talk about the build. Whoops. It's my bad. I'll talk about the build, and I'll talk about the defenses and all that sort of stuff. There is some necessary gear. I do play. This guy's gonna die just because he deserves it. There is some gear that's pretty much only available as legacy gear, but my setup currently that I'm running also explains the version which you can run in any build, because I don't know if they're gonna add Parandis to the core game, so just keep that in mind. So, okay, let's maybe start off with the build. Like I said before, we do get Deadeye for the Pierce, but we don't, depending on what exactly you want to do, you get either Occultist or Elementalist over at the Witch. The build gets approximately, I believe, like 168% life, which is not that much, but we get a lot of defensive gear, and we get 7 jewels, so you can really do whatever you want with your jewels. You can get over 200% life easily. It is a totem build. It uses the lightning coil. You can use a Taste of Hate. You can use endurance charges. And you can use a granite. Obviously, we do pick up some armor on the skill tree, so yeah. So the pathing is a little bit awkward. You can work this out the way you want. You can pick up some damage notes here, you can pick up some damage notes here. Maybe you want it to be a little bit more defensive and you want to get the armor and the jewel for more mana. Maybe you want to travel over here for another jewel. Maybe you want to pick up quick recovery. That's honestly up to you. This is basically what I went with. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but this character is only level 86, so yeah, obviously I don't have all of these notes. At the beginning, when you're leveling, you might want to pick up the totem survivability notes. Later on you will spec out of them because pretty much nothing ever hits our totems. And there was like a boss and a Rakango and they barely, they just barely got my totems, but that was my mistake. But, yeah, the way I leveled this, I used just spark totems in a tabula rasa. It was good enough, I used the rain of splinters, so you can level that way if you really don't want to do anything else. You can level with flame totems. It is a totem build, so it's pretty much the best way you can level right now in the game. Again, I'm not sure when you're watching, but right now in the game that is the best way that you can level it. I will be linking the skill tree in the description, so yeah, if you don't want to put all this in, just copy paste arena, that stuff. So, a couple, maybe core items. We definitely have to use the Voltaxic. The build pretty much doesn't kick off until you use the Voltaxic and until you have all the double dipping notes or a bunch of double dipping notes, unless you like invest a little bit into your jewelry, which I really haven't. Like, my jewelry is not all that great. You can see still using some blue gems and double prop gems, so my jewelry is kind of crappy, but it still does well enough. But you have to use a Voltaxic. We do get 100% pierce, so something like a drill neck is incredibly useful, and they're super cheap right now, so definitely go with it. Maybe even corrupted for +1 arrow. And on a hardcore league, you can flip that stuff, pay like 8 chaos for a Voltaxic and sell it for like 4 exalts. So do keep that in mind. We don't use a +1 arrow, but it makes for nice money, and we don't need the pierce chance, so you can maybe get something else useful. I'm not exactly sure. We do use Southbound Gloves. The reason for this is your hits can only kill frozen enemies, which means that if well, we can't kill anything essentially with our totems. However, we do use poison, so we kill everything with the poison, which means that every kill gets credited to us instead of our totems, which allows us to use Victoria's Acuity, which might not be available in the leagues after Parandas, but right now it is. And this gives us a 10% chance to gain a frenzy charge on kill, 10% chance to gain a power charge on kill, and then you've got like other effects like projectile speed and projectile damage per those charges. So something like this is incredibly useful, but if you can't get it for whatever reason, just get life and you'll be completely fine. I would still recommend using Southbound Gloves just because there's really nothing better you can get. I mean, maximum life % 15 is a lot, and then the cold resistance is more than justified, and you can't really get anything too useful in gloves. So, yeah. And then I use a lightning coil. Nothing really special, it's really easy to overcap your resist for elemental weakness and then use a lightning coil on top of it, because we do play a totem build, so we don't have to get that many things. You do want some cast speed on your rings, so those are some suffixes, but I'm really only using one right now, and it's more than good enough, right? As for the rest of my items, you can see that they're just basically random items, nothing particularly special. So I would say the Voltaxic is the necessity, and the Drill Neck, since it's so cheap, is a necessity, and then the Southbounds are quite useful. The main setup is Spark, Pierce, Void Manipulation, Spell Totem, and Poison. I would not use this under a 5-link. If you really have to go with a 4-link, obviously drop the Void Manipulation. Obviously, you do want some double dipping nodes on the skill tree, like the projectile damage and all that stuff. Well, I should explain the double dipping. Basically, what double dipping is that we have the initial attack, which is our spark hit, and then that poisons, and the damage of the poison is based off of our initial hit. However, there are things like, for us, projectile damage, chaos damage, increased damage, and totem damage that double dip, meaning that it increases the damage of the initial hit and also of the already scaling poison. So that's really the strength of all chaos builds, and if you don't, you should utilize it in every way possible. It's just that freaking good. But, yeah. So drop the Void Manipulation if you have to, but keep in mind that it is quite freaking useful. But I mean, if you've got a Voltaxic, you probably already have a 5-link too. Something very cute that also works with Self-Bound Gloves that's been incredibly helpful to me is Curse and Hit, Herald of Thunder, Blind, and Feeble. So, because we shock with the Voltaxic now, and the kills are credited to us, we have a Herald of Thunder running, and we can curse everything with Enfeeble. And pretty much always everything is cursed. It's incredibly useful. And then the Blind also kicks in every now and then, and is also helpful, but it's not that big of a deal. It is something very cute, and I do recommend using it. If you can't use the Victarios, I do have a greater multiple projectiles, faster attacks, Blink Arrow, Frenzy set up. This is just to keep up Frenzy charges, which you should always do despite not having this. Then there's an Immortal Call, cast when damage taken, Wrath, increased duration, your basic defensive setup. I mean, you can use an Enfeeble here and slap the Wrath somewhere else. You can maybe not use a Golem. That's honestly up to you. Just make sure to use an Immortal Call because every now and then it's going to save your life. Even though our physical mitigation is pretty freaking good, it's just, you know, a nice precaution. Rallying Cry, Vol Haste, increased duration, Vol Clarity. Make sure that all of these are linked. All of these do work together. You do need the Rallying Cry. It's a necessity at the start of the build, because at the start of a clear, because you can see we don't have a lot of mana regeneration. So the Rallying Cry is basically all our mana regeneration until we get the Vol Clarity, which, I mean, if you clear a map in like 1 minute, you know, you only need to click it 3 times. So you can permanently have Vol Haste and Vol Clarity up with no freaking problems. And then, yeah, that's really all there is to it, I think. I am trying to keep this video a tiny bit short, so sorry if I'm rushing through things. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. I'll try and respond to the reasonable ones. But do try and think for yourself and figure things out, because that always helps out really playing the build properly. And yeah, bunch of random flasks. A Taste of Hate is useful. And that's just about it. Oh yeah, and the bandits are... Oh wow, do I remember the bandits? I believe the bandits are Oak, Alira, Creighton. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Yeah, sorry, again, I'm a little bit rusty with this character, but hopefully everything is understood. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. Again, if you need anything, ask in the comment section below. Feel free to subscribe, feel free to check out other videos. I will most likely be playing this character in the next league if a setup like this is still available, because I don't feel like I finished it at all. But we had an unfortunate rip that most of you have probably seen. It's a pretty good one, so you can also check that out on the YouTube channel. Yeah. Thanks again very much for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!